Hi guys, this is David Bull. I'm the Director of Information Systems here at Lakeview, New Hampshire, and this presentation is on Lakeview's network for directors. It was a presentation that I originally gave to the ops team members when there were some questions about how to find things and where things were on the network. I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of background on Lakeview's network, how computers are named, and what we have going on for a network makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to use PowerPoint for this presentation, which is a program that I hate because no amount of bad bouncing clip art and fading text is going to make your presentation more compelling. But I have a tendency to digress, and PowerPoint will keep me on track, so away we go. Lakeview's network is comprised of a little under 300 computers at 21 buildings, which includes all of our group homes and finance department. That one network is really divided into two virtual networks. One is the one that we all connect to, that clinicians connect to, and that's the one that you can access network servers with. The other one is for the education department, for clients, and for guests. They're both completely separated from each other. Keeping those two networks separated and proving that we are doing that is part of our HIPAA compliance. So really important that they're separate, and really important that we're able to offer our clients a very high-speed connection to the internet and be able to do that safely, so that people can, in the cabins, connect their tablets and PS3s. So that's all done with a VLAN. VLANs are too complex to talk about right now, but for the purposes of our presentation, we'll say that they're magic. And so if there's one thing that's most important about this presentation, or the one thing that I'd like everyone to be able to get, it's that there's a huge difference between a client computer and a staff computer. They have completely different access, and they're set up to do completely different things. And the fact that we can provide education with really state-of-the-art software and computers, the fact that we can provide clients computers in the group homes and the ILS room so that they can participate on the internet, so that they can email their friends and family. Those are all things that we're really proud of, but it's also something that we have to be really vigilant about. When you allow a client to touch a computer or to use a computer that's logged in by a staff, that's a violation of Lakeview's policy. To take that further, if you were to leave a client alone in a room with a staff computer that's logged in and leave, when you came back, you wouldn't be able to say for certain what that client had accessed, or if that client had accessed EPHI. You might be able to have really practical assumptions based on what you feel that client's ability is, what that client's interest is, and you might be able to make assumptions on whether or not there had been, in that case, a breach from this client accessing the staff computer. But under the new OCR guidelines, we can no longer do that. We can no longer legally decide whether something's a breach or not. That can only be decided by the OCR. And that's a really important point, something that we really need to be aware of. So in that case of leaving the client alone with the computer, that was a breach, and something that we can't ever allow to happen here at Lakeview. We've made a lot of effort to offer screen protection for staff computers in areas where they might be viewed by clients or by guests. We've gone through the education department several times, making sure that computer screens are pointed away from students, and we'll continue to make those kind of efforts. But the most important part of that is having staff be really aware of the vulnerabilities of having a staff machine in an area where clients can access it or view it. And if they do access those staff computers, that's a violation of Lakeview's policy and procedure. It's also a violation of federal law. So that's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this presentation. Most of Lakeview's computers are numbered, and I'll show you right here. If we get on the network, you'll have some computers that have actual names, and those are usually servers, and then the rest of them, and here they are are all numbered Lake hyphen a number. That same number is on the front of your computer, and it's usually in a big yellow tag. So when you're talking to support and they ask you what computer number you're on, you'll look on the front of your computer. If you have a laptop, it'll be on the underneath. That number is also the last 3 digits of your IP address. So that helps us work, and it's been really good for us. Just to refresh your memory, if you need to submit a work order, then you can type in the address bar and in the browser, type the word help, and you will be taken to Lakeview's IT department work order system and enter your work order here and submit it. Some basic information on the side here, including the fact sheets, most of which Nathan has done, and they're really excellent. So a lot of answers you can get on basics on how to do stuff is already here for you. Enter help into the address bar anywhere and you can get there. We also have 2 wireless networks. One you can't see and one you can. The one that you can see is for, again, clients and guests. Anytime you put a client computer on our network, we want to see it first. You actually can't get onto our network until we enter your MAC address into our system, so we need to see any computer anyway. But we want to be able to physically see the machine and know that there is antivirus software running on it, because we're a healthcare network. When you're in a group home or when you're working for the finance department, we've set it up so that it's a very similar experience, or the similar experience, to working here on a mountain, and we do that through an encrypted tunnel. And we do that with VPNs, and VPNs are too complex to explain right here, so we'll just call them magic as well. So most of where we store all of our work is Lake NH. We're about to do a domain change soon, but if you type in the address bar of Explorer, Lake NH, then that'll bring you to that server. Here's the server right here, and here are the subfolders of it. So let's go through those subfolders, and there's a couple of things that don't belong here, a couple of printers and some IT administrative stuff, and if you could ignore that and focus on the 5 main folders, and that will all be cleaned up when we do our migration and we change over to the new server, which will be called File. So in the main file server, we have 5 folders: administration, clinical, health information, and support. So I just want to go through those really quick. In administration, we have the administration folder itself, which has very narrow permissions. Admissions, a large folder. Finance, HR, QA/QI. The clinical folder, the largest subfolder there, is the client folders, obviously, and there's a folder for each client in that subfolder. The entire education folder lives in the clinical folder, and there's other information in there as well. Health has its own folder, which includes medical records. The information folder has a soft spot in my heart. It'd be nice if it was considered an employee toolkit. It needs some good stewardship. It's still very useful just the same. All of the employee forms there, supervisional forms, payroll forms, our maps, policy and procedures. If you want instructions on how to get somewhere, all that information is inside the information drive. Support is all of the people who support the people in administration. Every folder has 2 subfolders. So if we go over to support and let's choose IT. Here we have an IT folder. This folder is just for people who work in my department, and then IT shared is information that I want to share with people from other departments. somebody who would be getting in that folder would have the right to read what's in that folder, but not write to it. In each folder that you have, there are 3 permissions. So the user permissions are for your employees, people from the department. Light permissions are only for the shared folder, and it's for people that you're sharing documents with, and then the super user, which is the department head. As a director, you're responsible for your folder. No one else is. The entire structure of it is up to you, and what's important is that you make this folder what's most useful and productive to you. The only job that IT has in all of this is making sure that your data is backed up, and to do a little bit of housekeeping and to offer you whatever help you need in making you the most productive that you can be. So there's 3 ways to get to a location on a file, or I'm sorry, on a folder that would be on Lake NH. And let's go to IT shared. If I wanted to make a shortcut to that on my desktop, I would right-click on the folder, drag it over to my desktop, and let go, and say Create Shortcut Here. That'd be the pop-up, and there I'd have a shortcut to IT shared. If I double-clicked on that, that would give me a new one. That would give me the shortcut to where I was going. Another way is to get there from a map drive. These are my local drives up here, the actual hard drive that's on my computer, but all of these with different mappings, different drive letters, are all places that I can go on the network. And then manually you can drill down from Lake NH the way that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation. Since hopefully most of you will be making subfolders within your department's directory, one thing to remember when you do it is to not leave spaces in a folder name. So for instance here I have I've shown you 3 ways you could do QA/QI. One's with a period, one's with an underscore, one's with a hyphen. This one's with a space, and if you'll notice, I can't email this link because it'll just come through as QA, and it won't be complete. So whatever you do when you're making a folder inside your department's folder, always make it either one word or use an underscore. Don't use spaces whenever you do that. The 2 map drives that everyone has is the I drive, which is the information drive, and your M drive. The M drive is really critical to know about. It's where you store all your work. Under no circumstance do you ever want to save anything on your local computer. You always expect your local computer to die, because they, sooner or later, all computers do. Your M drive will live forever. It's backed up redundantly during the day. It actually has 2 different programs and servers backing it up. The only thing to remember when you do save something to your M drive is that that's not something that you can share. You can't say, hey, go over to my M drive and get it, because the M drive, your M drive, is only accessible to you and no one else. Really important to remember about the M drive. You can work on the network anywhere. If you want to log into a computer from home that's on the mountain and run it by remote control, then, and I have my start menu sort of messed around here, but if you go into accessories, at least on Windows 7, and go to remote desktop connection, if you enter in to your remote desktop connection, tsnh.lakeview.ws, and that will take you to the terminal service connection for Lakeview, and you'll be able to use that the way you'd be able to log into any computer. TSNH, it's Terminal Services New Hampshire, is what that, I don't know if that makes it easier to remember or not. Likewise, the address for our webmail is https, important that you put the S there, ex-svr lakeviewhealthcare.us, and ex-svr, I don't know if it helps you remember, but that stands for Exchange Server. And when you get to When you come to that first page, if you put your domain name, for right now it's NH / your username and your regular network password, then you can log in and check your email from anywhere in the world. So there's some basics. That's where our folders are laid out on the network, and I hope that's helpful. That concludes the network presentation for directors. And again, I hope that was helpful, and thanks for listening.